In this documentary, we'll be talking about how trans people feel, how their family life was affected after coming out, why some people are scared to come out and how their life was affected since finding out. We will be talking to 4 non-binary and trans people about their experience, interview with teachers about how they feel about non-binary and trans people, how they support them, and how they were raised affects their views. There will also be a section where I'll be telling a few stories on how I've been treated after coming out. How do you identify?
A carbon-based life form.
Okay.
I'm non-binary. I like to be called they, them, or nine.
I identify as a trans male. My name is Ash and I go by he, him pronouns.
Don't know.
You don't know?
Don't know.
Okay.
Non-binary at the minute. I'm playing around with the idea of Danny boy, but I don't know what it. I'm trying not to think about it too much. I like they and he. I really don't like she, but it's what everybody else is comfortable with, so I'm just like, yeah, okay.
How did he come out?
Well, to me, it's like there's so many opportunities out there, but if we gender them, we don't realise how many people with talented skills are going to miss out on those roles. So we have to give everybody the same opportunities.
I came out as trans last summer, I think it was, to my parents because that day that I came out, before I came out to them, I was put in a dress and I felt so uncomfortable. So I kind of went for a walk, met my best friend at the time, he was like, yo, you gotta come out to them. So I was like, okay. And I did. And they told me they weren't gonna call me Ash.
No?
No.
Okay.
Not that. Other than close friends.
And how do you come out to your close friends?
Just hinted until I kind of just got over it.
Most people know, but my parents, my grandparents don't. But my sister is, she's cool with it, all of her friends are, so my girlfriend's cool with it. I didn't come out again. Everybody just asked, they were like, are you? I was like, yeah, I guess. And that was it. Really nothing special.
How long did it take for you to understand your gender?
Well, I've sort of always knew that I just liked what I liked, and when I was younger I used to play with Hot Wheels cars, and I wasn't so much a fan of Barbie dolls or anything, so pink and so-called girly. I just wanted to identify with what made me feel like me rather than anybody else.
A long, long time, because growing up I kind of knew, but didn't understand it. And then during high school, got to learn more about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'll just come out as non-binary. But that didn't work, so I was like, screw it, let's just be who I am.
Still haven't. It's a work in progress.
Literally years. I don't know, I guess my entire life, like as far as I can remember, I knew that I wasn't a girl. I know all that, but I didn't know anything else was a thing until very recently. And then in lockdown I started playing with ideas of like, oh, maybe this and that. So yeah, it's fairly recent with the labels and stuff. But
Were you scared to come out, or what were you worried about coming out?
I wasn't scared because as long as I was happy, I knew that I was gonna be happy.
Oh, I was terrified because you see all this stuff on the news, on Instagram, like social media. It's like, how many suicides, how many deaths per year, and I'm like, do I really want to be one of those? Like, you know, it's hard obviously, but like kind of freaked me out. I was like, no.
Just people's perception of the whole thing, and that's what's worrying, because not many people are very accepting.
Yes. Well, not to my sister, because I think she's something, but to my girlfriend I was, because she was attracted to girls, and I was like, oh, I don't know how that's going to go down, but she's been amazing. So, okay, but I am petrified of telling my mum, my nan. So,
How did your family react to you coming out?
They usually use nigh anyway, but occasionally the odd she slips out. But I know they don't mind it, but it's nice just to be called a person rather than, you know, just a vagina with legs.
They said they support me, and you know, said that this is who I am, it's who I am, but they just weren't gonna call me Ash. And then a few months ago I kind of broke down to my dad. I was like, yo, you've got to stop calling me Ash, man. And he was like, I'll try. And I was like, that's all I can ask. But they are kind of supportive, because, you know, they get me like more masculine clothing and all that stuff. So I'm like, yay.
Accessing.
What do you think they would react like?
Probably negative, confusion, because they haven't got a clue.
well, my sister, she was great. She really didn't care. And then my cousin was the same, really didn't care. But my mum, I mean, she sort of knows, but she doesn't know. But like, I drop hints, and I think she's been picking up on some of them. There's a thing she says about other people, I'm like, oh, I'm just never going to tell you. So.
How did others react to you, or how are you treated with people who know you're non-binary or trans?
They reacted like, Nye is Nye and Nye is stubborn, so we should do what makes Nye happy.
They acted not surprised, but kind of excited, if that makes sense. Because when I came out to my sister, she was like, oh yeah, I always knew. I was like, okay. But all my friends were really supportive, and were like, okay, you're Ash now. This is just another thing in the day that's happened. It's one of those things. Like, okay.
Good, only positive.
Everybody treats me fairly the same. Now my grandparents try to change me now and again, and I think it's getting a bit too much, but otherwise everyone just acts the same.
How does your college support you?
They're usually they, them pronouns, so anything to do with Calvin-based life.
Well, the tutors call me by Ash and use my pronouns, which is cool. Nicola is trying to change my name on Teams, even though I haven't changed it legally yet, so love that. But apart from that, they're all like, okay, you're Ash, whatever.
They've used the correct pronouns, and if I were to go by a different name, they'd use that.
Yeah, I've not told them, purely because I know some of the tutors are not very accepting, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna tell you because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. How would you like things to change?
I would like society to change by, you know, not gendering hobbies or interests or job roles that anybody can have. You know, like they could be builders and they might have, you know, different genders, or there'll be some people and they'll work in nurseries. They won't be exactly what society's expectation of them is.
Just, you know, well, I want to say change, but like, you know, just get rid of like all the female parts, really. Just get rid of all female parts of my body, really, you know. just one of those things like, I don't want it. It's
Yeah.
not who I am, you know. I'd rather this, more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'd like people to stop taking things like gender too seriously. And to, like, grow up.
Grow up here.
Yeah. Someone wanted to be called they is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Just wish people were more accepting and were willing to try to understand instead of just writing it off straight away because they just don't want to understand because they don't care.
Do you have more freedom to express yourself than you did before you understood your gender?
Well, I try to express myself, but sometimes I'm just not good at that. But, you know, I think that self-expression to some degree is important for everybody to have.
Now I have, yeah, because before I came out, I felt really restricted to what I could wear, couldn't wear, what I could do, couldn't do. But then after I came out, I was like, I'm me now. It's just, I can do what I want now. And I'm like, yay. Because, you know, I now dress the way I want to dress, not to please other people. So I'd rather be like this. You know, it's normally hoodies and baggy t-shirts and ripped jeans, but that's how I want to dress, you know. It's one of the things.
Yes, definitely.
Yes and no. Like my mum, she's more accepting now, like when I wear more masculine clothing, she's like, yes. But when it gets too much and too often, she's like, tries to throw something really like things like, here you go, I need to do this. And like my nan brought me a new coat recently, and for the life of me, she spent ages trying to talk me into getting a girl's one. And I was like, I want this one. And she's like, no, it's a man's, you're not allowed that. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty good.
How do you support non-binary and trans people?
I support non-binary and trans people just in my teaching, really. I think just like kind of being a lecturer and being quite understanding, making sure the college is as safe a place as it can be for anybody and everybody. I think that's just kind of hopefully what I bring to the classroom, and just the setting in here is that everybody, whoever they are, whatever they want to be, is supported in that.
Do you know much about non-binary and trans people?
Not massively. I've kind of, obviously becoming more and more aware of it at the moment with students of mine, stuff I'm watching on TV, so stuff like Sex Education on Netflix, and then a couple of documentaries I've watched recently as well. There was one about Caitlyn Jenner, I think it was called Untold. Again, that was another Netflix one, just all about their transition to who they are now. So it kind of guess being exposed to the subject more and just kind of taking in more information kind of as I go. But obviously as a cis white male, it's kind of just, it's something completely new to me, really.
Yeah. Do you think there should be teacher training on non-binary and trans people?
Yeah, I think there probably should be some teacher training. I think maybe even just like some workshops just to kind of make people aware of correct ways to approach students, or how to, kind of approach the subject of pronouns, and at the end of the day I think it's just about like who you are as a teacher and as a person, to just kind of make that more acceptable as well, I'd say. But I definitely think that there should be some training in place just to maybe help people out who are a bit more confused by it, less exposed to it, I guess, as well, because it is new for a lot of people, especially people even in certain age groups as well. There may be more beneficial training for different ages. So yeah, it'd be nice to get something going in college for that.
Does how you were raised affect how you treat non-binary and trans people?
Yeah, I think it probably does. I think for me, I'm quite lucky really, because my parents have always been very open, very accepting of anybody and everybody, and that's just how we've been raised, me with my siblings. That's how we approach people, and how we just kind of just see everyone equal, really. Just that, just take people for who they are. But again, I think that does come from growing up in quite a accepting household, for want of a better word. And then yeah, maybe like a lot of my friends were all kind of quite similar backgrounds, and just quite open, and just I think, yeah, it does probably affect how you view, but it probably affects how you form a lot of your opinions as well, not just necessarily on trans and non-binary. I think it probably does affect how you think about everything really.
When I first figured out I was non-binary, I had told my high school friends. They were supportive as they were all non-binary, trans, gay, etc. But while I wanted a binder since I first figured out I was non-binary, my trans friend decided he also wanted a binder, which caused a few issues. I would mention I wanted a binder, but all they cared about was getting my friend a binder. To them, because I was non-binary and he was trans, he needed a binder more than I did. They said I don't need a binder, that you can't see my chest anyway, even though you could. It made me feel like they didn't see me as non-binary, that to them I was still a girl who was just being quirky. Eventually I saved up enough for 2 of my friends and myself to all have a binder, but it still felt as though they still saw me as a girl. Another time I had come out to my family, changed my name and was trying to look more masculine, but to my family I was still a girl. They still see me as a girl to this day, using she/her pronouns, using daughter, sister, niece, even though I have told them multiple times I am non-binary, I am trans, and I use he/they pronouns. They ignore whenever I say I'm trans. They just don't talk to me and they move on to a different subject. It makes me feel unsupported, lost, stuck. I'm on a list for testosterone and top surgery, but still haven't told my family about it. I'm too scared on what they'll say. They didn't like the fact I got a binder and started drawing on a beard. As soon as it's permanent, I'll tell them, but I'm just scared.